Welcome back. In our last video, we explored how life is beautifully organized, from tiny molecules all the way up to ecosystems. It's amazing how living things are built from connected layers, each one with a unique role in the story of life. But today, we're stepping back to look at something just as important. What exactly is science? How do scientists understand the natural world? And how do we know what we know? Today's video is all about the nature of science, what it means to think scientifically. We'll explore how scientists use observation and reasoning. We'll also learn about the difference between descriptive and experimental science, and we'll see how scientific ideas are tested, questioned, and improved over time. You don't have to wear a lab coat to think like a scientist. All it takes is curiosity, careful thinking, and an open mind. Let's take a closer look at how science really works. Much like life itself, the nature of science defies simple description. For many years, scientists have written about the scientific method as though there is a single way of doing science. The oversimplification has contributed to confusion among students. At its core, science is concerned with developing an increasingly accurate understanding of the world around us, using observation and reasoning. To do this, science uses both descriptive and hypothetical thinking. Our understanding of the world improves as new tools and techniques are developed. The nature of the universe has not changed since the time of the first humans, but our comprehension of it has increased. There is no one right way to do science. Scientists strive to be as objective as possible in interpreting data. Because scientists are human, they can make mistakes. However, science is self-correcting because it relies on a community to check findings. If results are not confirmed by others, they are rejected. The classic vision of the scientific method is that observations lead to hypotheses that, in turn, make experimentally testable predictions. In this way, we subsequently evaluate the validity of the hypothesis in describing the world. Virtually all of science involves this general pattern. However, much of science is purely descriptive. For example, in the early stages, a great deal of research was devoted to sequencing the human genome. This involved determining the sequence of nucleotides in human DNA. Descriptive science often precedes hypothesis-based science. Descriptive work is often a necessary foundation for experimentation. The study of logic recognizes two opposite ways of arriving at a conclusion: deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. Science makes use of both kinds of reasoning. Deductive reasoning applies general principles to predict specific results. An example is Euclidean geometry, which demonstrates logical theorems. Deduction is the reasoning of mathematics and philosophy. It is used to test the validity of general ideas. For example, if all mammals have hair, and you find an animal that does not have hair, then you may conclude it is not a mammal. A biologist uses deductive reasoning to infer the species of a specimen from its characteristics. In inductive reasoning, the logic flows in the opposite direction, from the specific to the general. Inductive reasoning uses specific observations to construct general scientific principles. For example, if poodles have hair and terriers have hair, and every dog you observe has hair, then you may conclude that all dogs have hair. Inductive reasoning leads to generalizations that can then be tested. Induction became powerful for science in the 1600s, when European scientists began using observation and experimentation to develop general principles. Francis Bacon, Isaac Newton, and others were early advocates of this approach. An example of inductive reasoning is the role of mitochondria. Scientists first suspected that mitochondria originated from bacteria. This idea came from observations that mitochondria resemble certain bacteria. They later tested and confirmed this with DNA evidence. Thanks so much for joining me. Isn't it amazing how much wonder is hidden in the things we often take for granted? Take care, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next chapter.